Hey everyone, this is Ross, and today I'm going to talk about planaria, because there's been a lot of cases of planaria recently, people setting up the new dirty tanks, little worms in the tanks, and I don't think there's a lot of information out there about planaria for people who have got it. I've had planaria in this tank, and it wasn't very nice to see little worms going in the gravel. So first of all, if you don't know what planaria is, it's actually just a little worm. There's lots of different types of planaria. There's a pinkish variety of planaria, there's a white one, which is like a thread-like worm. There's a brownish one, there's lots of different types. Some live in the water column. They're like little white thread-like worms, and sometimes what they'll do, they'll go into your filter and they'll embed themselves in your filter media. Most of them actually live in your substrate and your dirt. As I mentioned, they're carried in eggs in the soil. So when you dirt your tanks, there might be some planaria eggs in the dirt. So then they hatch out in your tank, and then they're fed by fish food or any organic waste that falls on the substrate for longer than a 1 to 2 minute period. So yeah, planaria will outbreak in a dirted tank if any excess food falls to the gravel for more than 1 to 2 minutes. So yeah, there's a few ways you can combat this. First of all, you've got to gauge how many's in your tank. So if you see like a thread-like worm coming along the glass here, or if you see them in the water column, something like that, then all you've got to do is turn the lights off for about 1 to 2 hours. And they've actually got a very primitive eye which can detect whether it's light or dark, and they're nocturnal, so they only come out at night. So if you turn the aquarium lights off for 2 hours, they'll be active because they'll think it's night time, and then all their little heads will poke out the top of the gravel and you'll see them squirming around and it'll look really ugly. And then what you do, once they're active, you quickly turn the lights on and you run straight up to the tank and quickly try and count how many heads are poking out of the gravel, and that will give you a rough gauge of how many you've got in your tank, because in the day they'll be hidden underneath the gravel. So once you've found out how many's in your tank, there's a few ways you can combat them. I think you can get a planaria treatment, although I've never actually saw it. A few people have said that you can actually buy it in stores. I've never saw it, but you could research that for yourself. Another method, which is what I used, was I got a cleanup crew like cory catfish and shrimp. Now the cory catfish don't actually eat the planaria, but what they do is they eat the food that lands on the gravel, so the planaria don't have a chance to eat it. So effectively they were starving the planaria. If you've got a lot of cleanup crew like these shrimp here, you can see they're eating all the tiny bits of food that fell in the gravel at feeding time. And they're keeping the gravel clean of any old food or any rotten plant material that the planaria can feed on. So you basically just got to starve them. That's the only thing you can really do to get rid of planaria. Just get a good cleanup crew or buy the treatment. About 20% of all species of planaria are actually parasitic, so you might get a parasitic species. You've got a 2 in 10 chance of getting a parasitic species. But what they'll do is they'll actually infect your fish, and in most cases they'll kill them, or they'll leave them open to secondary infection, and they can die from that too. So yeah, about 20% of all planaria is parasitic. The other 80% don't do much harm to your tank. They are very ugly, you'll see them in the soil. It's best to get rid of them, but the fish may actually eat them, and they're not too bad for your tank. But it is best not to have any planaria in your tank. Having said that, planaria are present in nature, in water bodies and lakes. They're just something that happens like algae, but you can control it. Just get a good cleanup crew, or don't feed your fish as much. Make sure that the food isn't falling to the gravel for too long. If the food remains on the gravel for a while, get your net in there and net the food out, and just starve them basically. Planaria are so hardy that if you were to take one out of the tank, chop it in half, it would grow into 2 full planaria worms. So they're pretty indestructible. I mean, it's crazy. You could just chop the head off and then they grow another body. So yeah, you've basically just got to starve them of food. Get a good clean-up crew, or have a net ready every feeding time to make sure that you can net the food out. And keep up with tank maintenance, keep it clean, and you shouldn't get planaria. It is very common when you set up dirty tanks though, so don't worry about it too much. Just remember, don't put fish in until 2 to 3 weeks after you've set your tank up, just to make sure you haven't got a planaria problem, because it is quite common with dirty tanks. Alright, so I hope some of this information helped you, if you've ever had planaria, or if you've got it right now. If it did help you, then it'd be great just to leave a comment, say that I helped you. Please like the vid, and please subscribe. Thank you. Bye.